YouTube, what the crap's going on? Sorry my videos were a little late and I missed a day, but yesterday was the Sugar Bowl in Oklahoma was playing, and I'm a big Oklahoma football fan, so I had to watch that, so it set me a day behind, but I thought I had an interesting topic to come back with you with. I've played a couple of battles online. Yeah, that's probably about it recently, too. As the vampire counts against the Wood Elves. And it's an interesting matchup in my mind, and I think that there is some very good builds for the Wood Elves to use against the vampires, one of which I came up against, and it's an interesting one, and I'm curious for you all's thoughts on this. And I forgot to save the replay from this one, but I'll talk through it. I lost the battle versus the player who was using this. Basically, he had Durthu. Yeah, let's throw Durthu in here, and I don't know what all spells he had, but probably just Flock of Doom, and then the other abilities that you would expect with Durthu, maybe a Sword of Faith, I don't know. But he had a Spellsinger, Lore of Life, so this is pretty straightforward, right? I'm sure the Spellsinger, if I remember right, the mount was something like probably just Elven Steed, and then when you come in here on the spells, just anything that heals, I think was probably all that the Spellsinger brought. So it's something like this. Spellsinger, and then there was a backline of Eternal Guards, I believe with shields. There was no archers. Because if you think about it, vampire counts can spawn stuff on top of your archers all day long. Then there was the Ancient Tree Man. And I'm trying to remember. Oh, Hawk Riders. And I'm off by one. So, I mean, basically, they just dumped one ability somewhere here, and that's all they would have to do, like Arcane Conduit or something like that. And you can easily be within your cost here. So this was the army that the Wood Elf player brought. And this is an interesting army, and this is just my opinion. If there's an easy way to beat it, let me know. But when you think about what this army is, the Treekin do magical damage, and they have physical resistance, which makes them kind of a tough nut to crack, like to get through these guys. So they make the front line because they can hold out against the vampires for a long time. Now, I don't know, maybe you can break the leadership on the... Well, no, you can't because they're immune to psychology. So they make up a nice front line. They're immune to terror and fear. The Tree Man combines with Durthu and the Spellsinger to make a nearly impossible to kill Goon Squad, because the two of these guys together put down a massive beating on enemies. Magical attacks on both. So again, ethereal units benefit you nothing here. Now normally I would say, well, the Treekin are weak to, or have some physical resistance. Maybe their high armor and stuff would fall to the Cairn Wraiths, but no, because they have magical attacks. So that's something you have to keep in mind. The magical attacks would shred the Cairn Wraiths. So definitely not a good choice to look at the Cairn Wraiths against the Treekin. So that's something I need to kind of figure out is like, what unit do I like against Treekin? If you think about it, they're pretty well armored. They don't have armor piercing themselves. Maybe a Vargulf or something would do okay. That'd be something I have to... In fact, let's test that right now. I'm going to just grab like a Master Necromancer with... actually, I'm going to need a melee lord of some sort. Let's grab Vlad so he can keep someone busy. I don't need any spells or anything off of him, though. This is just for the sake of keeping someone busy. And if I come over here, let's just pick a Glade Lord. Again, I don't want any messing around with the test as much as possible, so I'll throw a Glade Lord in there. I'm going to try not to kill him, but I'm kind of curious how a Vargulf would do. The AI is not going to cooperate 100% here. But let's just test it out, because a Vargulf is not anti-large, but it's armor piercing and it regenerates. Does some pretty solid damage. Let's give this a shot. Or hold on, I'm in an ambush battle. Crap, dang it, it's gonna erase. I hate that. Like when you switch the battle type, it freaking erases everything. It's so annoying. What was I gonna bring? I was gonna bring Vlad. Give me just a second. Gotta redo all this because stupid, dumb thing resets itself. No, we're not a freaking whatever those guys are. Vargulf. Just kill all this. And let's see how Vargulf does against this stuff. So let's go Glade Lord. Like I said, I'm going to take away all the dumb abilities, mounts, and Treekin, because I just kind of want to see how these guys perform against a unit of trees. This is not really the map I want either. If it switches this again when I switch maps, I'm going to vomit. This will work right here. All right, there we go. Let's go see if we can finally get our test in. I'd need to turn on my no Lord needed mod if I really wanted to test this, which I could, but since I don't have it on at the moment, just go ahead. see what we can get out of this test, if anything. I just want to see, does he start doing any damage to the treekin? That's the biggest piece I want to see here, because, I mean, obviously the Glade Lord is going to intercede. But I'll run around him and try and just get to the treekin. But again, regeneration, armor piercing, which the treekin are pretty well armored. They're not perfectly armored. Let's see if he gets any work done on these guys. These guys don't have a lot of armor piercing either, but their melee attack's not very high. They do have pretty solid weapon strength, and there's 9 of them there. A Vargulf costs considerably more, so I would expect to see a pretty solid performance here if we were gonna see this be worth it. Let's just chase the Blade Lord out of here. He should run off. We'll keep him free of the test area. Okay, you can just stand there, Vlad. Keep that guy busy. He'll shoot at Vlad. Alright, I'm going to fast forward for a while and just kind of see how the Vargulf performs in this fight. Ha, he just got stunned by the treekin. He's getting knocked back occasionally. Now remember, the Vargulf would be very vulnerable to archers, so if you're going to do something like this, but I mean, this build like I came up against doesn't involve any archers. And the treekin would probably be able to go almost 1-on-2 because the Vargulf is so expensive. But again, this is just a test just to see what would happen. Look at Vlad over here just taking it like a man. It's like, whatever, Glade Lord, fire away. The Vargulf is performing well overall because of his regeneration. Again, this is a 1-on-1 scenario. And there may be better units for the vampires, like a Cryptor may perform well here because they get armor piercing and they poison. So we can try a Cryptor here in a second as well. All these units, though, Vargulf, Cryptor, look how far like the treekin are pushing the Vargulf all over the map. They must have good mass. But the Vargulf is clearly winning that fight. I have to get this stupid Glade Lord off me real quick. Yeah, you knew you weren't tough enough for Daddy Vladdy. I mean, the Vargulf would definitely win that fight. So, but curiosity's sake, I wonder how a Cryptor would do here. And I know I'm just kind of testing around with this. If you want to skip ahead and watch the battles I have, that's fine. But I'm trying to, because it happened to me and I lost it, and I like thinking through like what the appropriate counter would be. Let's test the Cryptor. So what are we up against? Cryptor is armor piercing, poison, and regenerates, which would be a pretty nice combination because they're going to poison the treekin down to almost no attack. They're going to get armor piercing against the treekin's armor. So I don't know, maybe that's a good matchup. Let's try that. Again, we'll use Vlad to kind of soak up the arrows and stuff from the Glade Lord just to keep him away from the fight so we can get a decent idea who would win or lose. Now this would be a much more cost-efficient matchup, and you could have more of these guys. But again, if you pick this expecting a tree army and you get the tree army, it might work out. But the other thing you got to be aware of with that tree army I showed you is that the Tree Man and Durthu are going to combine, and they're going to be healed by the Spellsinger. So honestly, you really can't engage Durthu or the Tree Man until you are able to kill the Spellsinger. So you'd have to have a way to kill the Spellsinger. In fact, that if you don't kill the Spellsinger, I don't think that you can win that fight easily as the vampires. I'm going to go up here and I'll take a couple of shots here as the Cryptors, but they'll regenerate it, so it shouldn't be a big deal. I don't think the Glade Lord can actually kill a unit model here. Okay, let's see how Horrors do against the treekin. What are the big factors here? So 54 melee defense to only 28 melee defense on the Cryptors. But look at the poison effects here. The weapon strength is pulled down. The melee attack is not, but the weapon strength is pulled down a decent bit. Let's push this Glade Lord out of here once again. With haste on death's wings. No, don't you get in that melee. Dadgummit. He's gonna muck the whole thing up. I'm gonna put this minus melee attack on the Glade Lord because he's ruining my test. Because he's in here attacking my Horrors now. And the treekin are trying to disengage me and go after Vlad. Way to ruin my test, you Glade Lord moron. I'm gonna send the Cryptors after the treekin. I'm gonna try and get Vlad loose and attack this guy. Get the heck out of here, you dumb butt. Well, they disengaged from me, so I'm not sure how accurate it's going to be. I don't know what the AI is doing. They're trying to run away with the treekin, so the AI is just acting absolutely idiotic at the moment. So I don't know if this is a good engagement or not. Let's just kind of see how it's going here, like if one's clearly winning the fight over the other. I mean, the regeneration is significant on the crypt horrors. And it appears that they are able to do some damage over time. And honestly, I kind of like that matchup a little better. I think the treekin perform okay versus the crypt horrors here. You see, they're kind of making up some of it now that the fight's really hammering out. But maybe that's a better match because of the price. The treekin do cost a little more, but the Vargulf is almost twice as much. So to me, that makes a little less sense. I don't even know where Vlad went. He's over here chasing this ignoramus around the map. Yeah, it looks like the horrors actually get outperformed pretty heavily by the treekin. It's got to be maybe that defense or something. Magical attacks. Yeah, maybe it's the defense that does it. I mean, still in the end, it's a decent performance from the crypt horrors. They've held on in this fight for quite a long time. The treekin do cost more. So I don't know, interesting. If you have any other ideas, I did have Blood Knights in that game. By the way, my army was Red Duke. I had 4 Grave Guard, a Sternsman, and then I had 3 Black Knights, just the standard versions here, and then I had 2 Blood Knights. And even with the Blood Knight's help, we couldn't get anywhere close to killing the Treemen or Durthu because of the healing of the Spellsinger. So I think the key to that army is you're going to have to kill the Spellsinger. Then you might be able to pull down Durthu using El Sif, which is the ability from the Red Duke, if you were using him. So I don't know. Just give me your thoughts on that. I'm curious to hear it. So I know I've spent some time talking about it. Let's get to some replays here. I did get to have a replay. Why the heck is it showing in the... Oh, okay, there it is. I got to have this replay where I used the vampires against another Wood Elf army. And I wanted to showcase this one because I felt like that the first Wood Elf army that I was just describing to you was a better counter pick to what I had brought. And I brought a very similar army here, except this time I had the Red Duke flying, whereas last time I did not. This is a very similar army. Now, it should be pretty simple what I need to do here. The Wood Elf player has gone for a Waystalker and a Glade Lord, trying to do some sniping. But the Glade Lord on the Dragon is much slower than the Red Duke, and the Red Duke... look at that, he doesn't replenish. I figured he would have replenishment. Oh, it's if he's in melee. If you brought a Necromancer, he might heal all the time. Anyway, I've got a Varix Reavers, Blood Knight, 3 Black Knights. Again, very similar build. The Wood Elf player has brought a couple of Wild Riders, a front line of Eternal Guards with shields. Honestly, not. I mean, you do get extra melee defense for the shield. It's not going to help you versus missiles, obviously, with the vampires. And then he's just absolutely tanked up on Glade Guard with Hagbane tips and Starfire shafts. It's a mixture of them in here. There's, I believe, 6 units in total. So he's gone for a ton of missiles, which, honestly, in the current state of the game against the vampires is a mistake. And the reason it's a mistake is because the vampires can raise the dead on you, and they can badly, badly disrupt your formations. And I'm going to show you how that, even though I've never practiced this tactic before, I'll show you how it works. I've seen it done, and I'm going to make my own attempt at pulling it off here. And clearly that's what I need to do. You can see, though, that all my guys have shields, and the Sternsmen regenerate. So even though he's going to cause considerable damage, the shields block a lot of the shots from these archers, and it causes them to use quite a bit of ammo for not a ton of damage dealt. I'm going to get away from here with the Blood Knights. They're poisoned, though, because of the Hagbane tips. My opponent's going to go into an Elf box here and try and resist me in the box. My Grave Guard will defeat him in combat, and then I've got extra units in the form of these Spearmen, and I'm going to just come around the flank with the Spears. The Spears were meant to kind of support my Black Knights, which were the weaker wing of my cavalry, while my more expensive wing can be effective. I went ahead and did 1 Raise the Dead, and it forced his Glade Dragon to come down here and kill them, because I'm disrupting several of his archer units. But you'll see that a number of them do continue to fire in a most annoying fashion. And the Hagbane tips are quite effective, slowing down my cavalry. There you can see it slows me down. I'm going to bring this unit in to support this fight. And I was going to attempt to get in here to the archers with this unit, but you'll notice that he sees it, and he's going to redirect some of his units to come over here before I can give the order. See that? He gets the net off on me and stops me. because this unit was definitely going to go straight for his archers. But since his archers have quieted down, I'm going to come over here, and what I should have done, well, maybe not so much. Yeah, because his Glade Lord was around. I'm going to go ahead and raise the dead. You see, I'm going to pin down a couple of archer units this way. And I'm going to keep the Red Duke moving. I'm going to get right on top of his archers. I'm going to do more raise the dead, because it doesn't take long to recharge. So at this point, I've got another one of his units locked down. So his units are kind of getting caught up on my guys, but he's also continuing to click attack orders, and he's force firing. And it actually starts to take a massive toll on the Red Duke, despite the fact that he's engaged. Look, a lot of his units continue to fire, despite being near in the middle of an engagement. I just didn't get all of them. And Starfire shafts and stuff, without the shield here, I am going to lose the Red Duke. I got too close for too long here. And I should have tried to get some of my cavalry free in here to help. The Raise the Dead units did a great job. You can see they're causing a lot of damage, but it's just, I left them there too long. So learn from that mistake. If you're going to try this Raise the Dead option, you got to be a little bit smarter with your Raise the Dead spellcaster, especially when it's the vampires. Now, this battle's not over yet by any means. I have his Glade Lord pinned down over here, and his Spell Singer is over here. And she has, does she have any healing spells? Really odd. Where is she at? I'm trying to get a handle on her unit card. Yeah, so she's got Earthblood, but she's not using it to save the Glade Lord at the moment, which is very odd. She's over here in combat trying to beat down these guys, so it was a very, very strange move by my opponent. But again, the 6 Starfire shafts are a ton of investment that he's put into units that, look how easily they're being disrupted by cheap units. Again, that's the risk. And even with my Lord dead, I stand a pretty solid chance of winning this, because he's just going to lose the melee so convincingly. And then he was in combat for too long with my Blood Knights, and they were able to do an insane amount of damage to him. So I'm going to end up routing his Glade Lord. He finally gets the healing spell off. Fortunately for him, I think he cast it after the unit started routing, so it's going to keep healing. But I'm able to chase the Glade Lord off. So I'm going to keep the Glade Lord chased off. My front line broke through, so now the Sternsmen are into his archers. And my opponent can't fall back because he's pinned on the backside by cavalry and spearmen. So at this point, my opponent's in big trouble. The Waystalker actually has quite a few kills. He was fighting some spearmen, but he's also pretty much dead. So you can see the elf units are going to start breaking now. Let's go zoom in on the fight, get you some close-ups so you see some of the sweet Lucian action. I got some zombies that were in the fight as well. You can see my cavalrymen here, able to chase off the elven archers. So this massive investment, this is 6 times 650, or roughly that cost. I believe it's about that cost. So that's a lot of gold invested, almost 4,000 gold that he invested into those archers. Did they pay off? Well, they did kill my lord. That was a big deal. That was mostly due to a mistake on my part, though. I think I let my opponent get more than he deserved here based on the way I did things. So, yeah, nice arrows of Kurnos there from the Waystalker. He got some nice kills, but it's over. I'm able to chase his units at this point. There's no getting away for the elves. I've got cavalry that remains over here, albeit it's a little bit diminished, but it's going to be able to run down his archers. So his archers are not going to come back from routing. Honestly, that would be his only hope here. One of them is a Blood Knight, too, isn't it? No? Is that my Blood? It's not my Blood Knight. It's the Verex Reavers, my bad. The other one is a Blood Knight, though. So yeah, his archers are going to get killed. His Waystalker's getting chased off by a few of my Black Knights. And the Waystalker's just not a good unit in melee versus cavalry. He'll be able to win here because these guys are crumbling, but he's going to be so beat up from it that in the end it's just not going to work. So you can see the Waystalker. He's going to flee. A couple of spearmen trying to come back, but it's too little too late. So it was a tight battle, probably tighter than it should have been because I got my lord killed. Had my lord not died, this wouldn't have been very close because I would have been able to continue to raise the dead. I think I had like 3 or 4 more raise the deads, and could have potentially used invocation and the heck and some other stuff that would have made it a lot more difficult. But yeah, in this case, my opponent's not going to make it this time. So I think a couple of keys here. Mistakes on my part. Just be more careful with your spellcaster when you're going to do what I did. Mistake on the elf player's part. too many skirmishers against what is an obvious advantage for the vampires, which is being able to raise the dead on top of your skirmishers. And the vampires have access to cheap cavalry if they need it, and that can be a problem. If the Wood Elves can't defend those skirmishers, it can be a big problem. So it's just something to be aware of. It can be very difficult to defend 6 skirmishers, especially with only 2 Wild Riders. Maybe they expect the vampire player to go heavier on monsters and other units that the archers can quickly destroy. We'll see. I got this replay sent into me by Iru Robin, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tank this episode up since I missed yesterday. So we'll go ahead and show this, but yeah, Iru Robin sends me... Well, actually, let's watch these in a separate episode. I'll upload another episode for you. We'll continue talking about this. HeirofCarthage out. See you there.